Io ho fatto l'armata jugoslava e tu mi chiamavano italiano.
Io conoscevo 7 paesi che comandavano e tutti quelli che sono arrivati hanno detto che ci hanno liberato. Ma di cosa ci hanno liberato?
We are going to a town. There is a language that probably most of you have never heard of. There are apparently only a few hundred speakers left in the entire world.
Tu 1000 ljudi.
Wow.
Nas ima jedno 50 koji što govorimo.
Prije nego idem, možete reći nešto na vlaški? Good morning, guys, from PULA, the 7th biggest city in Croatia, and most importantly for today's video, the biggest city on the peninsula of Istria. Today we are going to head into the depths of Istria and see everything that we can see in one day exploring it. So I'm hoping to pull through and make the best possible video of Istria for you all, because the last thing that I would want to do is to pull a fast one on you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go rent a car from the airport, and that should give us the most possible flexibility to see this beautiful, mysterious peninsula of Istria. This here, if you can't tell, is the Roman amphitheater of Pula. It's one of the most well-intact Roman amphitheaters still in existence today. It's definitely more well intact than that lame one in Italy, that's for sure. And the more that I've read about the peninsula of Istria, the more confused I get, because there have been so many different empires and countries that have ruled over Istria. You had the Roman Empire, the Venetian Empire, the Austro-Hungarians. Then, of course, between World War I and World War II, it was part of Italy. Then it became a part of communist Yugoslavia. And now today, the majority of it is a part of Croatia, with small parts in Slovenia, like we saw yesterday, and small parts in Italy as well. Not to mention all of the different people groups who have migrated here throughout the years. And so you have like 10 languages that either are spoken today or have been spoken here, just in this small little peninsula. So there's no way that we're going to be able to see it all in one day, but we're going to try our best. Istria was a part of Italy until 1945. After World War I, it was given to the Italians, and also Mussolini saw it as a crucial way of expanding Italy into its quote-unquote natural borders. And so this region was Italian until 1945, and for that reason you have a lot of Italians who still live here today. In some villages, upwards of 30, 40, even 50% of people still speak Italian, apparently to this day. So we're going to start our adventure by heading to the north, to Italy's most Italian town of Groznan, where apparently, as of 2002, more than half the town still spoke Italian. So I'm sure we can find some Italian speakers, and we can see what life is like in Italian-speaking Croatia today in 2025. Then we're going to come back down to the south, and if we have time, we are going to try to hear a language that is almost extinct. The Istro-Romanian language, which I will talk a little bit about more later. So please come along. And of course, we're going to make a few stops along the way. This is the beauty of having a car, is we can stop wherever our heart desires. So let us go explore the beauty, the history, and the present of Istria, Croatia's mysterious peninsula. Join me. I should mention that today is indeed Easter. And we'll see how today being Easter influences the video. Maybe we will crash a celebration or two. And also things will probably be closed. So let's see as we go. Now, one thing I'll say is, because it's Easter, I think a lot of the buses aren't running, and I really have no idea how to get to the airport because that's where my rental car is. So I'm gonna go to the bus station and see if there's a bus that can take me there. That would be prime. So worst case, we'll take a taxi. But yeah, I might have to pull a string or two in order to get us to the airport today. You thought I was done with the PULA puns, but no. Dobro jutro. Je li vi znate kako mogu stići u aerodrom, u zračnu luku?
Ne znam da li ti danas vozi shuttle bus, on ti ide odavde, to odeš na web zračna luka PULA i pogledaš raspored.
Okej, super.
Jer ima svaki dan drugi, ako ne, onda taksisti, oni te voze, mislim za 200
Evo
eura.
taksisti, ok,
Mislim
super.
za 20.
Hvala. Znate li koliko treba bi biti?
Što? Novaca?
Da, da.
20.
Ok, super, hvala. Here we go, guys, our humble steed. Our Volkswagen Golf, which will bring us through Istria today. And tomorrow we will be adventurizing in just as cool of a place as well, but not in Istria. And now it's time. We have our car. Let's get after it. We have our car. Let's get after it. Nothing like the open road. All right, guys, well, we're here at this Croatian rest area. We're almost to our destination. But before we go to Grožnjan, Istria and Croatia's most Italian town, I first want to go to show you something which comes from the Yugoslav era of this region. And I think it demonstrates well the people of Istria, and I think it would be a good way to start our adventure here in Istria. So first we're going to go check out a little piece of Yugoslav history here in Istria, and then we will continue our journey to Grožnjan. So let's get back on the road. Honestly, I don't know how well you can see it, but if you told me that that town was Italy, I would believe you. Well, guys, we've arrived in the small town of Plovania, just on the Slovenian border, here in the north of Istria. The reason why I wanted to come here is to show you a Yugoslav war memorial from World War II. And we've obviously been to a lot of spomeniks on this channel, but the reason why I wanted to specifically show this one wasn't just because I think it's cool or beautiful, which it is. It's because this monument, I think, takes a step further than some other monuments. And this one not only discusses the people's liberation struggle against the Axis powers in World War II, but it also celebrates a lot the local traditions and the local people here in Istria. And so I'll just quickly show you here this plaque which sits at the bottom of the monument with a lot of the names of the people who were killed in this area in World War II. Remembering, of course, that this area was controlled by Italy in the 1920s, 30s, and early 40s. And so Italy didn't invade this area like it did other areas of Yugoslavia. It just kept administering it. There were partisan uprisings here against the Italians, and then once the Italians were ousted from the war in 1943, then the partisans were emboldened. They continued fighting against the Germans, the Nazis who came and occupied this region, and then it was eventually liberated like the rest of Yugoslavia in 1945. And so, in order to commemorate this struggle and the liberation of Istria, this monument was built. It was unveiled in 1981 as the 40th anniversary of the initial uprising against the Axis invaders. And it has 3 fins you can see here, which I don't believe are connected. I think they're 3 separate structures. And the reason why I really like this specific spomenik is you have these beautiful mosaics which show the local Istrian people. And so here on the first one, you have this mosaic which shows a local dance, some folklore traditions. You have the musicians on the right and the people dancing in the rest of the image. So this demonstrates the culture of the Istrian people. And then here, on this one, you have the labor and the work, which of course were celebrated heavily in socialist Yugoslavia. You know, you have some agricultural work going on. It looks like this is some kind of harvest or people collecting food. And then you have the other people working with the cows here, the oxen, whatever they are. So this is celebrating the work and ingenuity of the people of Istria. And then finally, partisans here fighting against some unseen ally over here in the sky, which would have been the Axis occupiers. Here you go. I mean, these are beautiful mosaics, and they've been redone too, which is really cool. You see with some other Yugoslav monuments that they kind of fall into disrepair, but this one has been kept up, and that's great to see. And I think part of it is because it really does celebrate the people around here. And so of course they would be incentivized to fix it up. I wanted to come here first today so that I could show you depicted in art the culture, the ingenuity, and the strength of the Istrian people. And now let's go see if we can meet some Istrian people and talk to them in person. The Adriatic Sea and the town of Groznan, at least the top of it. Well, it's not often that we come to a place with a tour bus full of tourists on this channel, but here we are in Groznan. It is quite touristy so far, which I wasn't really expecting, especially on Easter Sunday, but and in honor of Easter Sunday here in Groznan, I've put on my best shirt. Gotta look dapper as we walk through the streets of Groznan. Here you can see the signs in both Croatian and in Italian. Let's go check out what the sign is pointing to. Oh wow. Četvrnište Belvedere. Strada Belvedere. Wow, okay. And now I see why this town is so touristy. We don't usually come to places this cute on Bend the Rules. Usually we end up in but look at it, everywhere you look. This place is beautiful. Scusate, siete di qua? Sì, e parlate italiano?
No, voi parla italiano.
Parla italiano?
Voi italiano.
E lei è di qui?
No.
Ah, di dove?
Venezia.
He's professor, native speaker.
Ah, ok, professore.
Dove in
New York, New York.
New York,
Sì.
piccola città.
Sì, piccola,
Come,
molto.
come Grozny.
Sì, esatto. Ma lei abita qui?
No,
Ah, a Venezia.
abitavo prima qui,
Ah,
adesso abito in un piccolo paese qui vicino.
ok.
Cosa vuoi sapere?
Non so, ho sentito che questo paesino è il più italiano, diciamo, in Croazia, quindi non è?
No, la comunità italiana più grossa è a Bertanigla.
Bertanigla. È lontano di qua?
No, sarà 15 km.
Ah,
15,
ottimo.
km.
Quale lingua parlate? Koji jezik pričate između vas?
L'università, la facoltà di filologia di Padova.
Englesko-talijan.
Alright guys, well, I'm not gonna lie, Groznan was not my cup of tea, way too touristy, but we did have a nice conversation with the Italian professor. And this is more my cup of tea. It is a monument to the fallen fighters and victims of fascism. Erected in 1956, just 10 years after the end of the Second World War. And here is a list of the partisans who were killed from Groznan, from this town. And it's actually interesting to look at it because you can see that some of them, like Josip Altin and Anton Bankovic, have very Croatian names. But then you have like Giacomo Corva as well. So it shows you the diversity of the partisan movement. They were able to really get people from all walks of life, from all nationalities, and that is why they were able to be so successful. Buie. Buie is also a picturesque little village. Maybe it's less touristy and we'll stop here. This really looks like one of the towns that you would see in southern Italy or Tuscany or something. Alright guys, we're going to try again in Buie. And this video is not supposed to be a tour of the Yugoslav history of Istria, but it's slowly turning into that. Because Josip Broz Tito himself was here in 1954. Josip Broz Tito came and visited Buie, and he was proclaimed an honorary citizen of Buie, and this was put up by the workers and citizens of Buie in 1985. Tito was here. We've stood where he stood. And I'm guessing that his visit had something to do with this statue, this spomenik to the Second World War, to the fallen of the popular war of liberation, and to the victims of fascism of the people of Buie. There you go. So I bet that he came to unveil the monument or came to see it as it was finished or something. And there you go, you have partisan soldiers carrying either wounded or dead soldier or something. Bravo. Jeste li odavde? Jeste li odavde? Parla italiano?
Sì, sì.
Ah, parla italiano, ok.
Sì.
È nato qui?
Sì, sì.
È cresciuto qui?
No, ero nato qui
Sì.
nel 47.
Sì, wow.
Sono andato a Oriesi, a Fiume.
Ah, Fiume,
A
ok.
Fiume siamo andati. E dopo il 55 siamo tornati qua.
Quale anno è tornato?
55.
55, ok, quindi quando era ancora piccolo. Sì.
Già.
E che cosa ha fatto come lavoro?
Falegname.
Ah, oggi, falegname.
Falegname, c'è una ditta qui giù.
Ah.
Eh,
E nella sua vita quotidiana oggi parla italiano o croato?
tutti e due.
Tutti e due? Con
Tutti
la
e due.
parla parla italiano?
Sì, sì,
Wow.
uno e l'altro. Tutto.
Sì.
Io avevo una moglie croata prima.
Ah, ok.
Ma noi imparavamo le piccole classi
Ah.
anche il croato.
Croato e italiano.
Italiano.
Ma-
Italiano era
Sì.
la prima
Sì. La lingua principale.
lingua materna
Sì.
italiana.
Sì. Wow.
Sì.
Figo.
Sono andato anche a Sarajevo,
Ah.
a Belgrado, lavorare
Per
in
lavorare?
Libia.
Wow.
Sì,
Wow, per...
sì, anche per la stessa firma.
Cosa faceva in Libia?
Falegname.
Falegnami anche?
Sì, qua ho imparato 3 anni scuola.
Libia a Tripoli o Bengasi?
Bengasi,
Ah.
università.
Wow, ok.
Sì.
Quanti anni?
No, 4 mesi.
4 mesi, ok.
Tutto per lavorare,
Wow.
una volta, sì,
Sì,
tutto
sì,
per
sì.
lavorare.
Perché Jugoslavia aveva un programma, sì.
Sì, era un commercio forte, era.
Allora, lei era qui quando Tito è venuto o no?
Sì,
Sì?
sì,
Si ricorda?
come questo monumento qua,
Sì.
tutto mi ricordo.
Sì.
54.
Wow. E com'è stato? Tutti sono venuti?
Tutto un popolo
Certo,
intero.
E com'era la comunità italiana trattata durante Jugoslavia?
Sempre bene.
Bene?
Sempre
Non
bene.
c'era problemi?
Niente, mai avuto.
Mhm. E tanti...
Io ho fatto l'armata jugoslava
Ah.
e tu mi chiamavano italiano.
Italianaz,
Vieni.
haide, yeah.
Haide, dodi, prevodio.
Molto interessante, wow. Sì.
Sì.
E adesso quanti italiani ci sono a Buie?
È buono.
Che parlano italiano? Qualche
Sarà
centinaio?
un 500.
Ok. Grazie per parlare un po'.
Sì,
E buona
anche.
Pasqua.
Grazie a te tanto.
Grazie.
Prego.
Scusate signori, siete di qui?
Sì,
Di Boie?
sì.
E parlate italiano? Ovviamente, ma anche croato? Perché io, ok, solo un po'. Quindi lei è cresciuto qui e parla solo italiano?
No, io
Ah, ok.
sono cresciuto in Australia, Italia, poi sono tornato in Australia, dopo sono venuto qua.
Ok, capito. Quindi da quanto tempo sei qui?
Dal 2004.
Ok. E viva senza croato?
Sì, per le cose normali sì.
Sì, ok.
Però insomma, io vengo qua per pagare e tu mi dici no perché hanno fatto tutto con i građani, no?
Sì.
Idemo i svaki kuća, vidimo koliko ljudi ide na račune,
Sì.
na radi.
Ok, malo pričam.
Mio papà è un drogonosia, allora gli aveva domandato ancora al tempo della Jugoslavia, quando c'era il comunismo, perché credo di imparare il croato o lo jugoslavo. La risposta, ma chi pensava che questo qua durare tanto? Dopo pochi anni è andato via.
Yeah. Because it was changing every 20 years, right? I mean,
So my grandfather, who's Italian from around here, ended up being in Italy and first language he learned at school was German.
yeah, there you go.
My wife was actually her grandfather. He was born down on the coast and his first language was Italian.
Yeah, in Croazia.
Yeah.
E com'è la dinamica della lingua qua nella città? Cioè, si parla italiano, croato, tutti e due?
40% croato, 40-60, dipende dalla situazione. Io dove abito, a Buia dove abito, erano, ascolta questo, io conoscevo 7 paesi che comandavano e 8 valute hanno cambiato.
Ah.
E io sono sempre lì. E tutti quelli che sono arrivati hanno detto che ci hanno liberato. Ma di cosa ci hanno liberato?
Tanti italiani sono tornati in Italia dopo che...
In Istria 300.000 persone dopo
Noi
la seconda
in
volta.
Istria dal Marzo.
Istria del Mare, 300.000 persone.
che sono andati in Italia.
Dappertutto, Italia, America,
Sì,
Canada,
Passava
Argentina.
questo.
E perché le vostre famiglie sono
Qui è
rimaste?
una lunga storia, se racconto 2 giorni dovrei contare. Bisogna vivere qui per capire le cose.
Sì, capito.
Io
Ok,
sono
allora
20 anni che non ho capito niente.
mi trasferisco allora. I don't know how much of that conversation with those guys was intelligible, but it was very interesting. They were speaking Italian, so I started talking to them. And it was interesting because they were speaking Italian, and then this guy comes over and starts talking to them, and then they just switched to Croatian. I think not all of them spoke Croatian, but at least a few of them did. And the one guy that I was talking to was born in Australia, so his family was originally from here. He just speaks English and Italian, and he just lives here while barely speaking Croatian, and he has for the last 20 years. I mean, he spoke a little bit, but not a lot. So you really can get around here just with Italian for the most part. And then even the konobar, the barista, she was probably a couple years older than me, and she spoke Italian as well. And she said that it depends on the family. So it's cool that the Italian language is still alive and well here today, and it's not just like a figment of the past. Yeah, just an interesting place. Interesting location here. And now, guys, we're going to see something extremely interesting, in my opinion. Driving on the Croatian highway has me thinking back to the hitchhiking trip with Flex. Flex, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing well, bro. We're getting close to the mountains in heavy contrast to the small hills of northern Istria. It is beautiful, guys. This is one of the most beautiful regions I've ever been to. I can easily say that. And now, as we've come more into southern Istria, these are the areas, as we've also come more inland, which were less historically inhabited by Italians, even during the interwar period when this was part of Italy. The Italians were historically more on the coast and in the cities, especially during the Venetian days. Those were the centers of trade, of the economy, and so that's where the Italians were, because that was kind of like the wealthier class, because the Venetians were ruling the area at the time. But now we are going to a town. I forgot the name. I don't want to check right now. I'll check when we get out of the car. We are going to a town where there is a language that probably most of you have never heard of. I had never heard of it until like a week ago when I was reading about Istria. And it's called the Istro-Romanian language. And it's apparently related to the Romanian language, and some Romanians apparently migrated at some point up even into Istria. And then the language evolved over time and it became, I guess it probably interacted with the local languages like Croatian and Italian. And now in 2025, there are apparently only a few hundred or maybe a little over 1,000 speakers of Istro-Romanian left in the entire world, many of which live in New York City apparently. So maybe the next time I'm home, I can go visit the Istro-Romanian speakers of New York. But we are going to go to one of the villages where apparently it's still spoken a little bit and see if we can hear some of this language that is apparently in danger of becoming extinct. So come with me as we go and see if we can hear some of this mysterious Istro-Romanian language. Alright, we are now really out there in the rural zones, let's say. The rural zones of Istria. There's not much going on in these parts, but apparently there's some Istro-Romanian speakers. And we are only 19 minutes away from them. And look, we got the Dino Merlin playing. I just listened to his new album and I was kind of disappointed, so I needed to put on the good stuff. We've reached the village of Paz, which is peace in Spanish. I'm sure that that's what they had in mind when they founded this town. It looks pretty peaceful. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. I cannot believe that Istria is real life. Look at this. This is insane. The church, these old ass houses. So freaking cool. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, I missed the turn. I got so wrapped up in this beautiful town that I missed the turn. Alright, now we're really on a small road. Check this out. This is the kind of road where if another car comes, you gotta like stop and let them pass. This is so freaking cool. And we're about 6 kilometers from our destination. We are deep in Croatia right now. Well guys, I'm not religious and I was not raised Catholic, but it is Easter today and I know it would make my Catholic grandmother happy to know that I came here and paid my respects at one of these little shrines. Is that the proper terminology, a shrine? Aren't these things shrines to Jesus and Mary? I think so. I think that's the Virgin Mary right there. So happy Easter to all who celebrate. Sretan Uskrs. Okay, well, we've almost reached the town of Šušnjevica, I've learned it's called. Yeah, I just read that there are an estimated 1,000 speakers of this language, of the Istro-Romanian language. Ooh, compared to the places I've been driving through, Šušnjevica is a metropolis out here. It's booming with life and activity. Istro-Rumunski. All right. Okay guys, well, welcome to the town of Šušnjevica. Šušnjevica. The N gets me every time. So apparently here, they speak a language called Istro-Romanian, which is related to the Vlachs somehow. And the Vlachs are an ethnic group which are descended or are related to Romanians. To be honest, I'm kind of ignorant on the subject, so I'm not going to try to explain it to you. But the point is that apparently that language is spoken here, and I've just seen that there's a museum called the Vlaški Put Museum, which should have some information about the Istro-Romanian language. But first, since we've already seen one in every single town today, I may as well show the World War II memorial. And here, actually, you don't see this too often in Yugoslavia, they have the hammer and sickle inside the red partisan star. And here you have a list of all of the people who were killed between 1943 and 1945, just from Šušnjevica alone. All of the people, and they do have very Slavic names, it seems. No Italians, and potentially some of these names are Istro-Romanian names, I'm not really sure. But nonetheless, Bako maybe? Maybe Rico P. Bako is a Vlach or an Istro-Romanian name. And now let's go check out the museum, which should have at least some information, if not a speaker, of the Istro-Romanian language. I know it's closed today because it's Easter, but we'll see. Let's see, this is all in Croatian. Although, you know what? Yeah, okay, here you go, guys. Wow, okay. Look, this is written in Istro-Romanian. Because you see it says Šušnjevice with the little line on it, which is definitely not Croatian. So that must come from Romanian. And here, yeah, Selište Šušnjeviste Konoskuta și cu Betara. Yeah, okay, you can see VL here. That means Vlach, the Vlach language. And then you have it in Croatian, and then you have it in English. Here you go. So here you can go for a walk, you can go for a šetnja in Croatian, or you can go for a špaš. I like špaš better. Really rolls off the tongue, špaš. Wow, very cool. And they have the Istro-Romanian language first. That's pretty freaking cool. Here, you are looking at a language with roughly 1,000 speakers in the entire world. And some of them are right here in old Šušnjevica. Now, I would love to find a speaker of the language. Here is the museum. Definitely closed for Easter. Just trying to read this language a little bit before I read the Croatian. Something about the commune of Kršan, the ambassador or embassy of Romania. Something Istria. Yeah, I really can't read any of it, as I would hope. But okay, so the renovation of something school. No, not even school. Yeah, so I don't understand this language at all, which is good. It would be bad if I could. Yeah, so the Romanian government gave this as a gift to the Istrian county, I think. And yeah, this plaque on the museum, I'm sure it would be cool to go inside, and I'm sure that whoever runs the museum speaks the language. Interpretacijski center. So definitely someone in here can speak the language. Really cool. We have about 20 minutes before we have to leave. I haven't even told you where we're going next. But I think what I'll do is I'll just walk into downtown Šušnjevica, see if I can find any passers-by and ask them a couple questions about their awesome language. Dobar dan. Imam pitanje, ja sam turist. Je li govorite istro-rumunski? Ne? Ali ima li ljudi ovdje koji pričaju? Malo. Znate li nekoliko riječi? Ne. Pa hvala, sretan Uskrs. I think that guy was our best shot. So, imam pitanje. Ima li neko ovdje koji priča taj jezik istro-rumunski?
Jedino možda
Ćao.
Aha, vidite tamo gdje je ona kapelica mala?
Da.
I sad skrenete tamo prema desno za dole i tamo je jedan čovjek koji govori.
Super, a to je... Super, ok. Njegov kuć je tamo.
Tako je, da.
Ekstra. Hvala, sretan Uskrs. Did anyone notice that she called this sign a kartelica? I would personally say the word znak, and maybe I've learned it incorrectly, but kartelica seems to be similar to the word cartello, which is Italian. So I wonder if that is like, in this region of Croatia, they say kartelica instead of freaking znak. And maybe I'm just reading into it far too much. Alright, I guess this is the house of the guy who speaks. He's a Dinamo Zagreb fan. Ćao, dobar dan. Ne želim vam smetati, ali čuo sam da ima neko ovdje koji priča istro-rumunski.
Trenutno tu ne.
Ne?
Da,
Ne, okej.
Moja baka ali nije doma danas.
Okej.
Da.
Ali on priča?
Ne znam, ali možete tu, vam je jedan gospodin, znači, evo vidite tu gdje tu gore vidjet ćete put u lijevo unutra.
Da.
Ne ova kutija, nego samo ravno po putu.
Guys, we're being sent on a manhunt here to find the last apparently living speaker of Istro-Rumunski in this town. Not this house, but the next one. No idea if I'm supposed to be here. I mean, this is the address box. I'm just gonna ring the doorbell and see what happens. Hello. Alo? Benjamin, nisam odavde. Zdravo.
Zdravo.
Je li govorite istro-rumunski?
Šta treba?
Onda došao sam jer čuo sam, ja sam turist iz Amerike. Čuo sam da ima ljudi ovdje koji pričaju istro-rumunski.
Ja li tu je muzej?
Ok,
Tu je muzej, to je Vivijana Brkarić.
ok. Zatvoreno je danas zbog Uskrsa, ali vi ne pričate.
A pričamo ja, ali to je...
Možete mi reći samo jedna
A dobro,
izraz?
vi govorite hrvatski.
Da, naučio sam.
A vi ste baš iz Amerike.
Da.
A šta, vi ste lingvista ili?
Nisam, ali baš meni se sviđa jezik.
Ima još koji ili ste sam?
Ne, sam sam.
Sam vi?
Ja.
I vas to zanima. Ja tu je muzej, ali ona Vivijana danas ne radi. I normalno, to je naš jezik od naših starih.
Ali jesi li pričao taj jezik kad ti si bio mlad u kući?
Ja nisam znao do 7. godine niti riječi hrvatskog.
Okay.
I ne ja, nego svi tu. Jer su roditelji, svi su bili odavde oženjeni.
Ja.
Jer neka su to bili, se to ne išlo, nije bilo brzih auti kao danas. Nego je išlo se ili kolima sa kravama ili bilo je pješke. Znali su se ženiti iz drugog mjesta, 10 km, 20, šta je znam. Ali to je bilo, većinom su to bili ljudi koji su oženjeni tu. I onda su se djeca odmah za vrijeme Italije, to je bila Italija nekada. Onda su naši stari, kako su pričali, doma su govorili vlaški, to se zvalo taj istro-rumunski, vlaški jezik, a u crkvi se govorilo hrvatski, jer su svećenici njegovali hrvatski jezik. A u školi je bila državna uprava bila talijanska, u školi je bilo talijanski. Znači od maloga se govorilo 3 jezika.
Parli italiano?
Ma ne, mi ne govorimo talijanski, onda je bila Italija.
Roditelji su pričali italijanski.
Onda je to bilo Italija. Prije toga je bila Austro-Ugarska. I onda Italija, i onda Jugoslavija, i onda Hrvatska i... 4 to. Ali dobro, mi znamo i to nas je sada malo. Ima nas možda 9 nas je stalnih koji govorimo u selu taj vlaški jezik, a ima nas 80 ljudi. To je samo to je samo Šušnjevica. Onda,
još 80 koji pričaju?
Ja, u Šušnjevici. I samo 9 koji pričaju taj jezik. Od 80 ljudi. I to je sve zajedno, ima oko 300 ljudi, a od toga ima oko 58 stalnih aktivnih govornika.
I koliko često pričaš vlaški?
Mi pričamo samo tu nas 7 koji se vidimo, čujemo ili iz drugog mjesta ili od ovdje. Tamo na primjer ima ih jedno 60 ljudi, ali 20 ih priča taj jezik novas.
Ali u dnevnik život koristiš vlaški ili?
Ja kad se vidimo mi ovdje koji to znamo.
Ja.
A inače sa ostalima govorimo hrvatski.
Wow, okej, da. Naravno.
I to.
Kako se kaže čao, kako si na vlaški?
Mi kažemo čao, mi kažemo šikumašti.
Šikumašti?
Ja.
Šikumašti i hvala?
Hvala, ali rećemo to hvala jer su mnogo riječi su prešli u hrvatski.
Okay.
Naprimjer, kad je tu dolazio akademik Goran Filip iz Pule, on je znao meni reći, pa znaš, pa vi ste već 10 godina već ne govorite neke riječi, ste zaboravili.
Da.
Su prešle u hrvatski.
Da.
I to. A tu ima tih verzija kako je to došlo tu.
Da.
Neki kažu da je došlo iz Dalmacije, preko otoka Krka u Istru. Da su bile 7 karavane ljudi, 5 karavane da su ostale ovdje, stvorili se te sela, a 2 karavane da su otišle preko Učke, preko planine Učke i osnovali gore selo Žejane. To je bilo u 15. stoljeću govore.
Wow.
A druga verzija govori da su bježali pred Turcima, da su bili nomadi, da su bježali pred Turcima preko Like, preko Krka i onda da su došli tu. A druga verzija govori da su Zrinski i Frankopan, to su bili te vojskovođe, oni da su naseljavali jer je u Istri je kuga se poharala i onda su oni naseljavali sa tim balkanskim vlasima.
Da.
A onda treća verzija govori da su došli iz Vlaške nizine. Preko Banata u Srbiji, u Bosnu i iz Bosne u Dalmaciju.
I koja verzija vjeruješ?
Jer mi možemo vjerovati neovisno od našem vjerovanju.
Da.
Mi ne znamo. Jer svi znanstvenici koji to istražuju kažu zaletjeli smo se u jedno veliko široko polje. Ne znamo šta ćeš vjerovati. To je toliko tih verzija da ne znaš. Samo šta se dijalekt rumunjskog jezika, jedan dijalekt je isti njihov.
A osim toga ne znamo ništa.
Ne znamo ništa. A Rumuni su tu prisutni sa svojim istraživačima i profesorima od uvijek. Sam više razumio...
A razumijete rumanski jezik?
Ja, to je rumunjski. Ja, ali taj dijalekt.
Da.
Ali, a kad oni govore onaj svoj, jer njihov moderni jezik se zasniva na 4 dijalekta. Jedan je i naš dijalekt. Oni su rekli kad bi mi uzeli vaš...
Pa ima 4 dijalekta u Rumaniju.
Ja.
Sada vi razumijete jedna.
Jedan. A oni kad govore brzo, kad govore onaj svoj, to je teže.
Je li mladi ovdje dečki pričaju ili ne?
Ne, znaš, išli su tu i neki u školu i oni su to zaboravili. Ja vidim kad nekome vičeš na taj jezik, on ti odgovori na hrvatskom. Znači da je razumio, ali neće pričati. Jer se kući ne govori. U kući se ne govori i onda to djeca ih je kao sram.
Da.
Ja sam Josip Glavina.
Želio sam Josip
Glavina.
Meni je drago, Benjamin.
Benjamin,
da.
Benjamin. A vi ste baš rođeni u Americi, ili?
Jesam. New York. Da.
Baš tamo ste rođeni, tamo živite i sve.
Da. A sada živim u Švicarsku. Pa to je baš interesantno za mene. Hvala puno za razgovoriti malo.
Ja, dobro.
Prije nego idem, možete reći nešto na vlaški?
Ali šta po vlaški?
Po vlaški, šta ste radili danas, na primjer?
Danas?
And in that moment, I made the biggest mistake to date in my YouTubing career. I was so excited to hear the Istro-Romanian language that I accidentally clicked the maximum zoom button on my camera. So for the rest of the conversation, I was very zoomed in on Josip, but the audio is fully intact. So now, without further ado, the Istro-Romanian language.
La misa koji vozomu, notam la misa, și eram blagoslovit mâncoaturile, cerem mâncoașteže și moćas nocoasa koji vozomu.
Nisam razumio ništa.
Mi smo bili, danas imamo vazam i smo bili na svetu misu, a jučer smo imali isto svetu misu i bio blagoslov hrane, jer je vazam danas.
Vi ste rekli kvart, tako nešto.
hrana za monko.
A, okej.
Ja, hrana
Kvar,
za
kvar,
jest.
kvar.
Ja,
Za jesti.
Ja, za jesti, ja.
Kako se kaže za jesti?
Za monko, hrana za
A,
monko.
okej.
Ši pozdrave.
Like come mangiare, manhua.
Ja, monko.
Manhua. Kako da kažem volim jesti?
A volim jesti.
Volim jesti.
Roda monko.
Roda?
Roda monko.
Roda manhua.
Ja.
Roda manhua.
Roda monko.
Hvala puno.
Ja. To je kao neko, kad se mene znani pitati u rumunjska televizija i to, pa kako se vi ponašate? Pa ja sam rekao kao američki indijanci u Americi. Ja sam rekao, pa nisam kao neko pleme, sam rekao. Kao neko pleme.
Wow.
Pa on je jedno pleme koje nestaje. Jer mnogo plemena nestaju u Americi, ti Apači i to sve tamo i ti jezici se gube i sve. Nestaju, a sad Evropska unija to želi zaštititi.
Da.
Ali to je trebalo mnogo prije, kad je nas bilo više. Moje djetinjstvo je bilo tamo 63. i 4. Nas je bilo tu 1000 ljudi.
Wow.
1000. Sad nas ima jedno 300.
300.
A onda su
300 u Hrvatskoj ili u svijetu?
Ne, to 1000 ljudi je bilo tu. Samo taj kraj tu.
Da.
A sad ih je možda više vani u Americi i Kanadi koji govore taj jezik nego tu kod nas. Tu nas ima jedno 50 koji još to govorimo.
Da.
Od 300 osoba i to. I onda nekad je bilo i puno djece. Bilo je 180 djece moje djetinjstvo, 65. 66. Sad ih ima tu jedno 40. Nema više ni djece. Jer malo je ljudi, puno je ljudi umrlo, a malo se djece rađa. I to je to. Neće više nikad nego jedno dijete, dva. A nekad je bilo po familijama 8-9 djece. Da. Bilo nas je puno. Puno su se više šiškali na krevetu i to nije bilo te zaštite niti danas imaju tablete i sve to. Puno se je radilo kod kuće, se radila, obradila, živalila se zemlja. Bilo je puno stoke, krave, ovce. Danas više u Šušnjevici nema niti jedne krave, niti jedne ovce. Nema ništa, malo se radi iz zemlje, malo se zemlja ore. Ore se u Hrvatskoj, jer ovdje ta sela, to su počeli samo bazeni, niču turisti, bazeni po selima. A više nema stoke, nema krave, nema više. Nema. Sad su samo kompjuteri, televizija, brzi auti, brzi motocikli i to. To se gubi, tako će se izgubiti taj jezik. On će ostati tu u školi. A za koliko vremena? Oni kad se djeca tu nauče taj jezik, oni idu u školi u Zagreb ili u Rijeku. Tamo se više to ne govori. I taj jezik će se izgubiti. Nekad se niglom je mogao izgubiti, jer se je govorilo doma, kod kuće, i onda se nije mogao izgubiti. A sada ideš na cestu, nemaš sa kome govoriti. Oni govore svi hrvatski oko nas, nas je u manjini, i to će se izgubiti jedan dan. Ostat će samo zapisano. Da. I gotovo. Ali ako Bog da, nastavit će živjeti. Ako Bog da.
What an interesting guy we ran into, Josip, and we found a Vlaški speaker. We found someone who speaks Istro-Romanian. I'm sorry I messed up the thing with the zoom on his face. I got excited and I think my finger just accidentally pressed the zoom button. Yeah, I mean, we saw such a small part of Istria today, a few separate parts of it. And I think I'll have to come back to Istria at some point because we barely scratched the surface of things to see there or the languages that are spoken there. We didn't talk about the dialects. But I hope that you enjoyed the things that I did show today. And get ready for the next adventure tomorrow because I think it's going to be an interesting one. As we finally make our first journey on this channel to the Croatian islands. Made it to the island. See you tomorrow. Guys, I wasn't even planning on filming tonight, but this spomenik, which I'll show you in the next video, was built on April 20th, 1975. Today is April 20th, 2025. This is the 50-year anniversary of this spomenik, and if I were to mention it in tomorrow's video, then it wouldn't have the same meaning. So it's as though we were destined to be here today.